Everyone wants success, but very few are willing to hear the truth about what it really costs. That sentence echoed in Daniel's mind as he sat alone in his small apartment, staring at the city lights outside his window. Social media, with its endless scroll of luxury cars, financial freedom, and perfectly curated smiling faces, made success look so easy, so effortless. But for Daniel, it felt like a distant dream. He felt completely stuck. He worked hard day in and day out, yet every year looked exactly the same as the last. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't stupid. He was doing all the things he was told he should be doing. So why was success still so impossibly far away? That night, sleep just wouldn't come. His mind was racing, filled with a mix of frustration and despair. Daniel decided to take a walk, hoping the cool night air would clear his head. As he passed a quiet park, he noticed an elderly man sitting on a bench, calmly feeding the birds that gathered at his feet. There was something about the man's peaceful presence that made Daniel stop. He felt a pull, a need to break the silence. "Rough day?" the old man asked, without even looking up from the birds. Daniel let out a short, soft laugh. "You could say that, or like a rough life. I feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but absolutely nothing is changing." The man finally looked up at him, and a gentle smile crinkled the corners of his eyes. "Then you're doing busy work, not meaningful work." That simple sentence hit Daniel harder than he could have ever expected. It was a truth he hadn't wanted to admit to himself. They started talking. The old man, whose name was Henry, had once been a highly successful entrepreneur. He had built companies from the ground up, failed more times than he could count, and had even lost almost everything before finally achieving the success he sought. "Tell me," Henry said, his gaze steady, "what do you think the secret to success is?" Daniel hesitated, thinking of all the conventional answers. Talent, maybe luck, or having the right connections. Henry slowly shook his head. "Those things can certainly help, but they are not the secret. They are amplifiers, not the source." "Then what is it?" Daniel asked, leaning in, desperate for an answer. Henry pointed a finger toward Daniel's chest. "The secret is the ability to do what needs to be done, long after the initial excitement disappears." Daniel frowned, a bit confused. "That sounds boring." Henry chuckled, a warm, knowing sound. "Exactly. Success is boring. That's precisely why most people never reach it." Henry went on to explain that everyone loves the feeling of motivation. That surge of energy that makes you feel like you can conquer the world. But motivation is like a spark. It's bright, it's intense, but it's temporary. It fades. Discipline, on the other hand, is permanent. It's the engine that keeps you going when the spark is gone. He said that most people wait to feel inspired before they take action. But truly successful people act first, and they let inspiration catch up with them later. "Most people quit when progress becomes invisible," Henry said, his voice dropping to a serious tone. "They work hard for a week, a month, and when they don't see a dramatic change, they get discouraged and stop. But that invisible phase, that plateau, is the very moment when success is closest. It's the final test." Daniel went home that night with Henry's words burned into his mind. The next morning, he made a decision. It wasn't a dramatic, life-altering announcement he posted online. It wasn't a public declaration. It was a quiet, personal commitment he made to himself. He stopped chasing shortcuts and get-rich-quick schemes. Instead of trying to do 100 different things at once, he focused on one single critical skill related to his career. And he committed to improving it every single day, no matter how he felt. Some days he was tired. Some days he was so frustrated he wanted to throw his computer against the wall. And many days he felt like quitting. But in those moments of weakness, he would remember Henry's words, "Do what needs to be done, even when it's boring, especially when it's boring." Weeks turned into months. At first, nothing magical happened. There were no instant results, no viral success story, no sudden breakthrough. I went da 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 wah 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 da wah da 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 da. Not because he had achieved some external marker of success, but because he was keeping the promises he made to himself. He was building self-trust, one boring day at a time. One evening, he ran into Henry again at the same park bench. "I'm still not successful," Daniel admitted with a small smile. "It's not in the way the world sees it anyway, but I feel different. I feel stronger." Henry smiled back. "That's because success doesn't start on the outside. It starts on the inside, the moment you stop lying to yourself about what it takes." Then, Henry shared another hard truth, one that most people actively avoid. Success requires sacrifice. Not just sacrificing your time, but sacrificing your comfort. It means late nights when you'd rather be watching a movie. It means saying no to fun distractions so you can say yes to your future. It means consistently choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. "People love the idea of success," Henry said, looking out at the city skyline. "They want the rewards, the recognition, the freedom. But they don't want the lifestyle that creates it. They don't want the monotonous, unglamorous, disciplined grind." Daniel realized just how often he had chosen comfort over progress. How many hours he'd spent on Netflix instead of learning a new skill. How many times he'd hit the snooze button instead of getting a head start on his day. How often he'd sought the approval of others instead of focusing on his own purpose. From that day forward, Daniel became ruthless with his priorities, started waking up earlier. He meticulously planned his days, blocking out time for deep, focused work. He began cutting out the habits and distractions that added no value to his future. He wasn't perfect. Nobody is. He still had off days. But he was consistent. A year later, Daniel's life was almost unrecognizable. He had earned a significant promotion at work. Skills were now widely recognized by his peers and superiors. But more importantly, he trusted himself completely. He no longer waited for motivation to strike. He just worked, whether he felt like it or not, because his discipline had become a part of who he was. One evening, Daniel found himself looking out his window at the same city lights he once stared at with so much frustration. And he finally truly understood the secret Henry had tried to teach him all that time ago. Success isn't a single moment of triumph. It isn't a lottery ticket of luck. It's not a sudden magical breakthrough. Success is a daily decision. It's the decision to show up when no one is watching you. It's the decision to keep going when the results are slow and the progress feels invisible. It's the decision to stay disciplined when quitting seems like the easiest, most logical thing to do. Most people don't actually fail at their goals. They just quit too early. And that is the real, unsexy, boring secret to success. It's not about having more talent, more luck, or more motivation. It's about having more consistency, more discipline, and the quiet courage to stay boring long enough to become great. Daniel smiled to himself, knowing the journey was far from over. But for the first time, he wasn't chasing success anymore. He was building it one quiet, disciplined day at a time. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content to help you build your own success story. See you in the next one.